Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily astrology forecast for Monday, March 11th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful weekend. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits for today so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate the celestial energies. I worked the whole weekend, but it is what it is. And I go to work today, actually. And I'll finally get a couple days off, but it's all good. I actually have some plans for tomorrow too. So I have Tuesday and Wednesday off this week. I have some plans for tomorrow. Want to give you guys some more content, essentially. So, but anyways, we're coming off of that Pisces new moon. Mercury has entered into a new sign. The moon has entered into Aries. So we do have a bit more fire energy. But then here comes Venus making her way on into Pisces, which is not a bad thing. Venus likes to be in Pisces. It's exalted there. She gets to be the pearl inside of the clam. But she will meet up with Saturn, and that's going to be the part that's going to be a little bit tough for her. But, like I said, we do have this energy, which I think is going to be really good. And Venus is not going to conjunct Saturn until the 21st. So we have some time until then. This will be right after the vernal equinox when we'll see that happen. So let's go ahead and hop into the chart itself. Boom, boom. All right, so I have this set for, of course, the current moment, 8:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you can see, we do have the sun here at 21 degrees of Pisces, right? And we do have, of course, the moon, which has moved into Aries, with Mercury here in Aries as well. So we have a bit more fire energy here for us to work with, for us to play with. I think whenever the moon goes into Aries, we could tend to be a little bit more emotionally impulsive, but at the same time, it definitely does bring about a sort of rawness to the forefront, especially with Mercury here. We are starting to think more forward, which is a nice thing, right? We're starting to think more ahead, more of the things that we can do and accomplish. Although the other thing too is that the reaction time between our thoughts and actually acting is a little bit shortened whenever Mercury goes into Aries. So you may not necessarily think things through all the way. You know what I'm saying? You may not necessarily think things through all the way. You may be a little bit more impulsive, like you think of something and then you act, which can be a positive or negative thing. The good thing is that, perhaps you won't hesitate as much, but we still do have all this Pisces energy. We still have Neptune here. We still have the sun here, and we still have Saturn here. So even though we are kind of being pulled between the Pisces, and now we're going to be kind of pulled between the Pisces and the Aries energy, kind of being pulled in these two different directions, if you will. Now, of course, we're going to see that moon continue throughout the day, and we're going to see, of course, Venus, which is going to come into Pisces around 6:41 and 6:40-ish, I would say 6:40-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to see the moon make that ingress into Pisces. And this, of course, is going to make Venus a bit stronger, being that it's in its exalted sign. But still, like I said, has to deal with Saturn, and it still will have to cross over Neptune eventually, but we won't see that this month. So that's the interesting thing about this. I think it's cool how the moment that Venus enters into Pisces, we're going to have the moon pretty much conjunct the North Node. I mean, it's not exact, but it is very, very freaking close. So now the whole Venus moving into Pisces, this is going to have us start to open up and receive these more Piscean aspects of life, wanting to receive the dream, wanting to tap into that space, wanting to feel the beauty, if you will. But, like I said, with Saturn here, it's going to provide a bit of a harsher element to this. But I think it's interesting because, like I said, Venus doesn't necessarily have to worry about Saturn initially. It's really going to be more concerned about, she's She's wearing her bikini, her bathing suit. She's looking good. She's going to sit in the pearl. She wants to be admired. Venus wants to be admired when she's in Pisces. You know what I'm saying? She wants to be adored when she's in Pisces, right? And of course, you know, now that we have more of this Aries energy, this is going to give us, today's going to be an interesting day. It's going to kind of feel like we're caught between a couple of different worlds, if you will, and we're wanting to move things forward in new and exciting and creative ways. If we just look at just the, yeah, so, and I'll go ahead and show you guys this part too, just so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Because you'll see like immediately Venus goes to plus 14, right? It's in its exalted state. So it immediately goes to plus 14. You know, Jupiter's at plus 7, Mercury's at plus 2, so even Mercury's feeling a lot better. Everything else is at minus 5, though. Minus 5 for the Moon, the Sun, for Mars, and for Saturn. So I think it's interesting, too, of course, that we have the benefics, the more positive planets, if you will, are actually feeling positive, and the malefics are kind of feeling negative, if you will, or they don't have as much power, right? I think that's kind of interesting. Now, Mercury kind of goes both ways. Mercury is a bit of a hermaphrodite. Mercury is definitely non-binary in many ways. Kind of can go both ways. It's feeling a little more positive, of course, because it is in Aries. It's not in Pisces anymore, right? And it's also being disposited by this Mars. The, this Mars, which of course is an Aquarius, which is an air sign. So Mercury can certainly appreciate that, the ruler of the sign that Mercury is in. So that's kind of what's contributing to giving Mars a little bit of power here. And I've been saying that Mars is a planet that we've been needing to rely on a good bit lately because things have been seemingly so edgy and, trying to find the power. We've been needing this Mars energy to help us find the power and the inspiration to move things forward, to go out and create things, to, motivate ourselves. Because even if we look at these energies right now, all of the planets that are fire, out of all of them, none of them are particularly doing super, super hot. Even Mars, like I said, is at minus 5, you know, we had the Sun, which was Leo's at minus 5. Jupiter's, I guess, the best one here at plus 7, but it is an Earth. You know, it's an Earth. I think the reason why has such a low score here, I mean, its ruler Saturn is in Pisces, right? So that doesn't help it. If we take a look at the modern ruler of that's Uranus and Taurus, that doesn't help Mars either, right? So that's the other thing about this. Those are the things that are taken into consideration with this, So, and then of course there are different, that they don't necessarily show the exalted ruler of Aquarius here. Um, I I'm trying to figure out where Pluto is exalted, whether Pluto's exalted in Aquarius, whether it's exalted in Leo. I've heard both. I've heard good reasonings for both. I do kind of lean towards it being exalted in Aquarius, but that's just me. Um, it's funny too, because like according to this, Mars doesn't have a very powerful score. But the reason why I say it was good to rely on it is because it is fire meets air. So the good thing about that is that oxygen and those sort of things do allow fire to proliferate and to expand and to grow in size. So that's the reason why. But considering the fact that you know, we this was about finding the inspiration and motivation to kind of move things forward and finding inspiration in areas where you may not be able to find inspiration or being able to self motivate. I think is very, very powerful here. Now, Mars, I think the other thing about Mars that it is getting left behind. Venus is leaving it behind. It's not going to catch up to the sun. It's going to retrograde in Leo. So that's the thing about this too. Mars is already opposed the area of Leo that it's going to retrograde, because it's going to retrograde in like this first decade of Leo, and it's going to retrograde back into Cancer. So that's the interesting thing about this. Mars is already opposed that spot. So Mars isn't going, I mean, yeah, Mars is moving fast technically, but Mars isn't going to be moving fast for long. By the time we know it, Mars is going to be retrograding in Leo. So that's the thing about this. We're also, of course, going to see whenever you get Mars retrograde, that's usually that's the only time that it ever opposes the sun, too. So I still think that this can be a very positive day, obviously, especially with Venus shifting into Pisces. From the more feminine aspected energy, we're definitely going to be feeling a lot more positive. We're going to be feeling like we can actually receive, these beautiful things in Pisces, receive this dream, if you will. But we still have to take into consideration that Saturn and Sun and Neptune are still here. And that Neptune, of course, ruling Pisces, is still going to kind of be washing things away a bit. And we can be subject to energies just kind of like coming in and flow, and like this is about learning how to kind of go with the flow, whether the flow is a simple trickle of a stream or if it's a giant freaking tsunami wave. Learning how to dance with that energy is going to really help us. Now, of course, with Venus here, it will give us a way to learn how to dance with that energy a bit more. But I think that's going to be the weird thing about it. It's like we're wanting to move things forward. We're feeling like we can move things forward with Mercury and the Moon now in Aries. But then, of course, we still have to go back. We're still having to go through this review period with all this Piscean energy too. So let me go ahead and just stop sharing that, and then I'm gonna get back to like the this one right here. So, but yeah, so we'll see that moon come on top of the north node towards the end of the day, right? We'll start to see that energy right there, and then of course it will make it to Chiron as well, right towards the end of the day too. So I think today will be an interesting thing. I think we do get like an injection of positive energy with that Venus moving into Pisces. So some of you guys that are Piscean ruled, you're definitely going to really like this. Or if you have like a lot of water energy, this Venus is going to be either be conjuncting your energy or it's going to be trining your energy. So this is going to definitely be feeling good. So I think it's going to definitely help a lot of the water signs, if you will. Venus moving into this spot. Um, Libra ruled people too. I think it's going to be very helpful for you guys. You're going to start to feel a little more positive, a little bit more imaginative, like you could do things. So I think, like I said, I think this is actually a very nice thing, especially considering the fact that it does have a time before it gets to Saturn, and when things get a little bit more intense, we don't necessarily have to worry about that just yet. And in this moon in Aries, yeah, sure, it does conjunct the North Node and Chiron, but it is injecting some positive energy here, just really asking us to see the bright side of things, really asking us to, continue to express our raw and authentic self, and that, your past doesn't have to define you with that Chiron. I think that's kind of the way that the day caps, is that like, you don't have to let your past define you. You can overcome those challenges and stuff, and you can see the beauty in those challenges and how they help you to grow and evolve into the person that you are now. And of course, like I said, with Mercury now in Aries and it's in this first deck and it's moving forward, and yeah, it's being disposited by a Mars in Aquarius, which Mars in Aquarius has to be a little bit more methodical in its approach, which is probably why Mars doesn't feel the best here in Aquarius. But at the very least, if you could take some like real purposeful action, you know, and move forward in that way, then we can find ourselves, moving about these celestial energies and moving in a way that's going to set us up for some awesome stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, we are before these eclipses. I think there's a lot of anticipatory energy in the atmosphere, maybe even a little bit of apprehension, if you will. Good thing is that moon will come into Taurus soon and help to kind of ground out a lot of this energy. But I think with a day like today, take advantage of the fire energy that we have. Take advantage of the fact that we have Mercury and Moon and Aries. Yeah, it's a bit youthful too. and not necessarily everyone knows what to do with it, because like I said, Aries is like the spark, but how do you sustain that spark? That's the part about it. So it's one thing to be inspired, it's one thing to get like this wave of motivation and stuff like that. It's another thing to learn how to sustain it. And I think that's part of the reason why I keep harping on this Mars in Aquarius, is because it isn't a fixed sign. So it's trying to come up with very sustainable actions from an innovative space to move things forward. Or we can look at Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, which at least according to those scores, has more power than Mars, but it is in Taurus too. So once again, it's like sustainable action. It's like sustainable beliefs. It's stuff that it may not necessarily seem the most exciting, if you will, but at least these are in fixed energies, right? So we have two of the fire planets in fixed, and one of them immutable, right? So there's nothing in cardinal. So that's the thing about this. None of them are in cardinal energies. The closest one will be the sun, and that'll be during the equinox. So let's get into the cards, shall you? Shall we? Shall you? Shall we? I think right now we have to come up with like creative ways to keep our motors going. Using the same old ways is probably not going to necessarily work, especially in this world where things just feel a bit edgy and it feels like a pin could drop at any moment and stuff like that, and we're just kind of like wondering what's going on. And I think, like I said, we have to find kind of creative ways to keep ourselves going, to keep the motor going. You know what I'm saying? So. And the people that are able to adjust on the fly like that are the ones that are going to find themselves in the best positions, So I have the Knight of Wands in reverse. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we kind of want to temper our flame a little bit. Like, I think we're inspired to move forward, but I think with Venus moving into Pisces, it will kind of temper things out a little bit. But I think this is about Venus and Pisces wants to appreciate the moment. Venus, it also is about value and appreciation. And with the going into Pisces, it's like time melts away. Appreciate the current moment. Don't feel like you have to just rush right into every little thing today. You're gonna probably want to, because the moon is there in Aries and Mercury is there in Aries, and they're wanting to move things forward. They're wanting to be fresh and all that. And that's great. That's dandy. That's amazing. But we still have to temper ourselves just a little bit, right? I'm not saying to not go for things. I'm not saying to not be inspired and motivated, but we still have to kind of temper ourselves, because if we're too impulsive, we can walk into situations that we don't actually really want to be in and aren't really going to be beneficial for us. This Knight of Wands really wants to run right into battle, but this is like freaking. I've been watching like the anime Fairy Tale lately, and there's this character Natsu who's a dragon slayer, and he has like fire magic, and he's just super headstrong, jumps into everything, regardless of how big or how powerful the opponent is, and he just loves to fight and he wants to get stronger, but he really cares about his friends and he really cares about the members of his guild, and that's what gives him power. You know, this is him literally running to try and fight one of the strongest members of the guild, and then he gets tossed into the wall in like 5 seconds. Like, but he's gonna keep doing it too. But so that's the thing about it. You can do that if you want to. You can go attack like the top person of the guild, and they can like freaking fold you like a paper napkin, you know, and that could be your prerogative and stuff like that. But it just goes to show that sometimes we want to kind of think things through before we jump at something. I also have the King of Pentacles. So yeah, I think it does come down to what you value. The King of Pentacles, out of all the kings, is definitely the most like, he thinks about his resources, he thinks about how to utilize them the best, he thinks about the finances of his kingdom. So these are the things that we definitely want to take into consideration. What resources do we have? What finances do we have? Where is our value? How do we value ourselves and our position? I think those things are going to be very, very important. Bottom of the deck, I do have the Two of Wands. So yeah, like I said, there's this contemplative element on which way to go, what route to take, which is why, like I said, before this Knight of Wands wants to jump, I think we need to kind of contemplate, are we going to go this way or that way? Now, you don't want to overly contemplate, but the route that you take is going to be really dependent upon this King of Pentacles. And I think this King of Pentacles right here is probably that Jupiter in Taurus, right? So I think it's something we can have fun on and expand upon our value and our worth. But like I said, if you do not know this, then you're going to be stuck on the Two of Wands and you're not going to know which way to go. And you're not going to be able to take advantage of the inspiration that the Knight of Wands has. Now, for the Answer is Simple Oracle card, I have the card of Accept Love. Accept Love. This is definitely Venus moving into Pisces. 100%. And this is a very dreamy and almost imaginative, super romantic kind of love, the kind of shit that you only see in movies and stuff like that. Well, yeah, make your life like a movie and accept the love from the universe that you can have this amazing, beautiful life. I know it may not necessarily seem like it all the time. And a lot of times we live through the unseen scenes or the bloopers of life and not necessarily the edited versions of life. If you like, we live through those as well, of course. And that's the kind of stuff that we want all the time, right? The edited versions, the polished versions. You know what I'm saying? But accept the full love from the universe today in all of its intricacies and all of its ups and downs. This is about accepting the love from the universe and appreciating what we have, appreciating the entirety of the journey. But like I said, if we are receptive and we're open to receiving, you can really start to see some of the beautiful things here. And I really think that this card is going to be really talking to some pretty awesome synchronicities today. Accept love. The synchronicities are going to be like love from the universe. I'm like, hey, like little love letters from the universe. Hey, are you paying attention? Hey, are you paying attention? Oh, are you awake? Hey, look at this thing. Look what this is teaching you. Look what this is saying about you. Accept love. These are going to be like little synchronicities from the universe today, like little love letters. So be on the lookout for that. That is going to do it for your daily astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, please follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com, so we can see how these celestial energies are affecting you personally and how you can navigate them. And y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful Monday. I will see y'all in the next astrology forecast. Peace out.